Hello, it's Mimi. It's been a while since I've done a mukbang, and I apologize for that. Ugh. And so I said to myself, I felt funny about the way I've looked. I felt that my appearance wasn't up to par, and I apologize for being weird like that. And now people make a noise in the hallway. Well, they shut up. God. Anyway, I said my blessing over my meal, and I'm getting ready to eat. And the picture shows turkey wings and bread, the thumbnail, I think. At least if I do it right, it'll show it. And I want you to know that I'm having some of this. And you'll remember that I got this in one of the free food type things. And I said, hey, I haven't had this yet, so, I'm just trying to do it. So, like I said, I said my blessing over my meal, and now I will commence to eat. I think I got enough. Sugar in my little teacup. I hope so. La 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 la. Nice teacup, huh? No, but you know what? I'm going to drink it straight without sugar, so there you go. And I'm going to try this first, since I know what the bread and the wings are going to taste like. Mmm. Mmm. A little hot. Lemon water. Mmm. Hot. Mommy said the food is hot. Yeah, so so it's been a little crazy in these YouTube streets. Once again, there's a lot of brouhaha. There's been apparently a lot of shenanigans. Apparently. Oh, wait a minute. How good. My husband prepared this, by the way. Yeah, there's been a lot of shenanigans. These people are saying that they did certain things. And, we really have to be careful about what we're saying and what we accuse people of. If we don't have facts, we can get into trouble. Now, everybody and their mama has theories. I'm very sad because one of my favorite channels, KDW, is gone. I heard that Egg Guy is gone. Now, I don't remember really looking at his channel, but I like him and Egg Girl. I think she's talented. I think he's talented. And when they had done a spoof parody of their relationship, it was funny. I'm sorry. It was good. It seems that some people can't take a joke. Maybe it's the person that was being parodied, or maybe it was the people, that are fans of the person that was being parodied. But like, some people just can't take a joke or get a sense of humor. I know sometimes people are very cruel and they're very mean, and I don't like that either. I don't. But, when you reach adulthood, one of the things you know is, well, isn't that lovely? While I was talking, my phone cut off, so I thought, I'm going to have to free up some space. Anyway, what I'd like to say is that we want to be careful about saying so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that, because we could actually be working against the channels that we love. It's come to my attention that one of the most brilliant channels, one of the most brilliant parody channels that I've ever seen, KDW, has been pulled down, and I feel really, really bad about it because this person was brilliant. KDW made me think of the Farrelly brothers. She is as brilliant as anything you see on late night comedy shows, Saturday Night Live, Fridays, and Second City. She's brilliant. And there's another show that I'm thinking about, and I cannot think of its name, and it had Aries Spears and some other people, and the little lady that used to say, he looked like a man. I can't think of her name, but Katie W. is as talented as those people, and she deserves a voice, and I think that it is really horrible that she has lost her channel. There are people who feel like, oh, well, she's bullying. Maybe that's a stretch. When those of us go on YouTube, we kind of put ourselves out there and we become known. And some people do so well that they're kind of like a minor celebrity. Now, there's some people who say to certain people, oh, you're no celebrity. And I'm not talking about myself, but I'm talking about people who've made a name for themselves. You know, in order to be a name and to be known, yeah, you got to have a thick skin, because like real celebrities that are, you know, like the Kardashians or Diana Ross, or I think it was these beautiful models, Tyra Banks, Heidi Klum and stuff. You know, people don't always say, oh, you're perfect, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. There are a lot of people who do say that, but there are people who criticize them and say horrible things to them too. You can choose to pay attention and to take heart to things that are being said about you, or you can choose to not pay it any attention. Lord, this starts off smooth and creamy, and it finishes up hot. Yes, it does. And I kind of like it. Anyway. Woo. You can choose to take to heart every type of thing that somebody says about you, or somebody that you like. Or you can take the high road and realize a lot of times people not really trying to hurt you, or the person that you like, the channel owner or host or hostess that you like, they're not necessarily trying to hurt them. A lot of times people will say things about people, excuse me, because they actually like them. Sometimes people say things that seem mean, and they will tease a person because they actually like them. And I'm going to give you an example from television. If you're familiar with the American television show Alice, which was about a lady who was a waitress, and she worked at Mel's Diner, and Mel was really mean, and he was abrasive. And Mel had Flo, who had the big hair. He had Alice, who was the grounded mother who had children that she was working to help provide for. And then there was a character whom Mel used to call Dingy. And he said, Dingy, Dingy. And I was a teenager when that came out. And I used to think he was so mean. I just didn't like the way he talked to Dingy. Excuse me. That he called her Dingy. But you know, he never fired her. And so he must have appreciated her work to a certain extent. But again, my young, teenage, immature mind, he'd call her Dingy and he'd be fussing because she would do dingy things. And there was an episode where the character Dingy, was really noticeably upset. She was down in the dumps. She was feeling sad. And if I can find the link to that, I'll put that in the description. And if any of you guys know it, I'd appreciate it. But anyway, so he comes, you know, one day he finds out that Dingy is like really upset. She's going through stuff. And then I realized the nature of how Mel looked at Dingy. He was like, oh, Dingy's upset. Oh my, you know, he wanted to know what was the cause, and he wanted to do what he could to help, and he was genuinely sad and touched because he actually cared about Dingy. And that's when I realized that sometimes people say horrible things to people, but they really do care about them. And when you grow up in this world, you realize that. Yes, the most mature way to deal with people is to not tease them and not make fun of them. But in the real world... And another example is the American television show Taxi. A really funny show. And it starred Danny DeVito. And he played this absolutely horrible supervisor, boss at a taxi company, hence the name Taxi. And his character's name was Louis De Palma. That's who Danny DeVito played. And Jeff Conway played a pretty boy guy that wasn't too swift, that was trying to break in acting. Louis was always insulting him, constantly riding him. Tony Danza from Who's the Boss, before he got Who's the Boss, he played a cab driver named Tony Banter, who also was a low-level boxer. Louis teased him. Rieger was the guy who's the central character. Again, very grounded person. Louis was always making fun of his nose. And there was a beautiful girl played by Mary Lou Henner, who had a nice shape that Louis secretly had a crush on. But he used to always insult her and be mean and giggle and stuff like that, chuckle like the boss from, Hades, like a villainous boss. And you would think that Louis hated these people, but he really didn't. And one day, what is her name? The girl. I'm sorry, people. I'm doing my best here. The girl's name, and I cannot. Nardo. Yes, Nardo. She played Elaine Nardo. Mary Lou Henner played Elaine Nardo. And she went to get her hair done by a famous celebrity hairdresser played by Ted Danson before he got really famous. And no matter what kind of goofy hairstyle he came up with, everybody thought his stuff was really great, So she goes and spends a lot of money to get this man to do her hair, and he just wrecks it. The texture's off. It's asymmetrical, and not asymmetrical like, excuse me, people, the really, Vidal Sassoon, remember he did those asymmetrical wedge, and, oh God, those wonderful sculptural cuts that he did? No. This guy doesn't make it look beautiful and interesting and arresting. He made her look like she was stark raving mad, and he messed up the texture of her hair. And she was trying to hide from Louis because she didn't want Louis to see her. She didn't want anybody to see her, but she felt like if Louis saw her, he would let her have it, and she would be so humiliated and this sort of thing. Well, anyway, Louis actually was extremely upset and very compassionate toward her because he actually really cared about her, even though he teased her a lot. Likewise, I got these goofy glasses on. Likewise, with Louis and Mel seeming to be mean and saying snide-sounding things to certain people on the show, in real life, sometimes people they'll say stuff that maybe hurts a person's feelings. Like there was somebody from my real life that I had known since childhood that I really loved and had affection for, but they were very hairy. And it was a female. And sometimes I would call them fuzzy. I'm sorry. Sometimes I would call them fuzzy and say things like that, And I found out that it hurt their feelings. They felt very sensitive. They did. And this person was very good looking. And they keep the hair under control. But they felt bad. And they told me, and because we had this relationship that goes way back, I apologized and I stopped. And sometimes it's hard because, see, sometimes people tease you because they really like you and they care about you. And so I made my decision because of the nature of our relationship being so close and friendly, and there is respect, that I'm not going to tease them. I'm sorry, and call them fuzzy and things like that. And what I noticed is that there were people that would say horrible things, in my opinion, things that I wouldn't say about certain YouTubers, that when they thought that this particular person looked really sick and looked like they were near death, they said, oh my goodness, I know I like to make fun of this person, but I really don't want them to die. I'm really upset. And I remember thinking, oh, I didn't know it was like that, because sometimes you say mean things. I didn't put this comment in, but I'm thinking, sometimes you say such mean things, I didn't know you were just messing with them, But it came out when things were looking bad, and the person was expressing like distress over their health and situation. We said, man, I know I talk about her, but I don't want to die. This is terrible. And there were several people doing that. And so there's a saying that when they stop talking about you, that's when you should worry. So that's also something that I wish people would consider. If people are talking about your YouTube page, you're doing something. Even if they're saying nasty things about you, you're still leaving an impression on people. You still have power. If people are parodying you, if people seem like they're mocking you, if they're always talking about you, that means you have power. because you have their attention. So you can get angry because you don't like what they're saying or how they're saying it, or you could realize, hey, I'm reaching a lot of people. They're thinking about me. I've got space in their heads. You know what I mean? And when you start attacking or striking, it can actually damage all the work that you've done because people can become turned off and you can damage your brand and your brand becomes associated with hostility. And I've seen people do that where they've built a brand and we're all going to get people that don't like us. We're all going to get people that make fun of us. We're all going to get people that insult us. But if we react in a way that seems retaliatory and hostile and like receiving with anger or hostility, it will damage our brand. And you will lose people that were in your corner. Why would you do that? So that's to anybody, not any just one person or a few people. That's to anybody. I have seen a number of people damage their brands very badly, and they think it's everybody else that has done it. But we can't control what other people do or think, but we can control what we do. And what we do is the consequences that we have to live in because we did it. You understand? And so a calm spirit and concentrating on the things that you have going for you, no matter how many people make fun of you, no matter how many people laugh at you, if you're getting growth and you're getting known, that's a good thing. I mean, I'm small. I would like to go on and build. And I know people are going to insult me in so many ways. I'm a marginalized person anyway because I'm considered ethnically ambiguous, for one. Okay? A lot of people don't like that. I don't care. I really don't. Because it's not important. So, yeah, everybody's not going to dig us. Or even people that dig us are not going to dig us the way we feel that they should dig us. But we should not let that be a distraction. Because now we're being controlled by what somebody else does, or by what somebody else says, or by what somebody else thinks. So think about that.